and we're here right now in the City of Love, Iloilo City, specifically at the Gaisano Capitol Grounds, Vera Park, to witness the, we just recently witnessed the Proclamation rally, which actually kicked off the Visayas campaign of the Alyansa para sa Bagong Pilipinas here in Iloilo Province. That's right. You're watching Rappler Recap right now, and I'm going to be giving you guys a rundown of what happened at the campaign rally, at the Proclamation rally here in Iloilo. And very interestingly enough, there were a lot of very interesting faces, politicians coming from Iloilo that actually made their appearance, but were very discreet about their appearance, about being here at the venue. Of course, just a rundown of the senators that were present, all 12 of the senatorial slate that got their endorsement from none other than President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. himself, were all present, all the way from Villar, Amy Marcos, Tito Soto, Erwin Tulfo, even of course Bong Revilla was here as well, and it was quite a show that we saw coming from the many entrants of the politicians that were here tonight. But 3 words for all of our viewers tonight: family, defense, and voters. At syempre magsisimula tayo sa family because most of the aspiring senatorial aspirants really made sure to stress their ties with here in Iloilo. What we got from Camille Villar, who has recently gotten flack over being part of what's considered a political dynasty. Camille was very upfront about her grandfather, who's actually was actually born and raised here in Iloilo as well. Another connection that we also got coming from many of the candidates was how they were schoolmates with some of the local politicians here, the governor, and of course the mayor of Iloilo City himself, Mayor Jerry Treñas. But looking back at what we need to focus on here on families, because Iloilo City is quite very interesting because the First Lady's family also hails from Iloilo as well, which brings us to the connection for the Marcoses being here, starting their Visayas campaign here in Iloilo City. Going to defense, of course, many of the politicians here tonight made sure to clarify many of the things that were being thrown at them. Like, say, for example, for Bong Revilla, who's very clear about the accusations lobbed against him about him just doing budots, but all the more for him to double down and say that he has filed at least around 200 to 300 bills and helped pass them as well. And we also got so much of this messaging of them trying to defend themselves. Like, say, for example, for Villar, in her campaign song, Bata Pa Pero Marami Nang Nagawa. And that's what we got from Villar, from Pacquiao, from what we heard based on the opening campaign videos from Pacquiao. He really had to share, he really made sure to share about his roots in poverty, the way that he went up through that troubled life in the province. As for Lito Lapid as well, he made sure to put his emphasis on the fact that hindi siya nakapagtapos, pero syempre he would also want voters, especially young children, to be able to finish college as well. As for Tolentino, he's very, despite losing his voice, not being able to speak properly, very much made sure to make mention of the West Philippine Sea and how much we should be defending our shores, especially those who are fishing there, especially for fisher folk. And for Soto naman, for him, what's very important is the fight against fake news, which is very interesting given that there have been numerous reports and research on how fake news has helped the slate, the previous slate in the 2022 election for the unity team for Marcos and Duterte. But now let's put the discussion on our voters here in Iloilo, because in 2022, this was very much considered a liberal bulwark, or where most of the voters decided to pick other candidates who were not Marcos and Duterte. A primary example, of course, is for Leni Robredo and Kiko Pangilinan, who were then presidential and vice presidential candidates for the 2022 elections. This year, we're seeing now that there are fewer senatorial bets coming from the Liberal Party as opposed to Marcos's administration slate from Alyansa. And that was a point that Tulfo made sure to tell us earlier in a presser held at Hotel Del Rio, still here in the Iloilo City proper. For Tulfo, he made sure to remind the public, especially the voters, that the true essence of voting is really up to them. And when it comes to choosing their candidates, it really, what would be nice is, of course, to allow them to be included in those slots for their consideration. And that's also something that was echoed by Benhur Abalos, who also said na sana'y ampunin ninyo ang aming slate. And with that, we're ever inching closer to the kind of messaging and the kind of strategy that Alyansa is utilizing for its Visayas campaign, specifically here in Iloilo City, where there are at least 1.6 million voters. Of course, we're still going to be hearing more from these aspiring senators, and of course, the president himself, who has been joining these rallies and who will be participating in more rallies that will be conducted in other parts of the Visayas. Of course, in the first 4 of these islands, Iloilo City came on second, and we're still going to be awaiting where they're going to next, but there have already been announcements, so stay tuned for that. Of course, if you also want to talk to us about your thoughts on the campaign rallies, and of course the specific views and platforms of senatorial aspirants and the local candidates as well, feel free to talk to us on the Philippine Politics channel on the Rappler Communities app. I will also be there to discuss these things with you as well from the region. Once again, I'm John Sitchon. You're watching Rappler Recap.